All right, all right, all right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Let's Talk About It with April, each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's funny, I really shouldn't say all platforms. There's so many other platforms. I ain't got the time or the wherewithal on all the platforms. The platforms drive you nuts. Like, good God. You gotta get on this show. I ain't getting on no more platform. That's where we at. We're right there. That's all platform we on. But this evening, really excited, as always. For our guest this evening, we was trying to get this thing penciled in for a while. We know how life happens, and I appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you. First and foremost, let me just say this. Let me just say this before we get all deep into the life and all that. I absolutely love your output, right? Like you straight pushing everything you're involved in. And I think sometimes, especially within our age group, I think it's fair. I can assume how old you may or may not be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't really want to be pushing it like that. We kind of want to try to get some, clientele on the back end, and hopefully we don't got to take it all to social media like that. But I love how
Yeah.
you be pushing in marketing. You know what I'm saying? Your
Yeah.
brand, what you're doing, like it's so needed. We can't just assume that the online is going to do it all for us, right? I think it also, and it's something I kind of share with my son, who, as I mentioned, has a clothing brand as well. The other
Mm.
things involved is that people want to know you personally to some degree, right? They kind of want to
Yeah.
get, and who am I to say? Because I'm so behind the scenes. People don't know it, but I don't really be pushing myself like that. I really don't. I push people that come on the platform, right? Ultimately, that's my
Yeah.
own goal, right? But I love how you push yourself and market yourself. And I love all that you're involved in, right? I think that's a really big thing. Sometimes, what they say, you got to skin a cat many ways, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
it ain't even just about the streams of income all the time. It's just being diverse, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
understanding that we actually really do have more in us, than we,
Yeah.
really know. And sometimes we would just be lazy, but you be pushing. You be pushing. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
love it. I see it, all in support of it, and everything else is that. And you're like the what? You're like the third. I think you're the third or fourth cast of Sweet Thing, third or fourth, something like
Yeah.
that. More to come. So excited for what y'all doing in Richmond. Super motivated by what
Appreciate it.
y'all doing. Definitely a
Thank
fan
you.
of what
Thank you.
y'all
Thank
doing. Your boy on here now, Jermaine. Yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly.
the
You said you're one of the most genuine people. Okay, okay, I
yeah.
love it, I love it. And so, but let's introduce yourself for those that may or may not know you.
I don't know me. I'm Rule Turner.
Born and raised, dynamics of the family.
Oh, well, I'm born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. North side of Richmond. Um, I reside, in the east. I got East End family too, so I can say I'm North side, East End too. My dad's side, they all more East End, Church Hill area. Mom's side, we all like North side area, but reside more. I was born in North side area, Richmond.
Okay. So where do you? How many siblings do you have?
I don't even know. My dad's side, I don't know, it's a whole lot. My mom's side, so I mean, a total of seven. I can't even give you an answer. It's
Wow.
too
Okay.
many.
I
There's a lot.
get
I
it.
ain't gonna put my dad. I ain't gonna put my dad
You put
out
them
there
out there
like that,
like
but yeah, I ain't gonna do him like that.
that's so
I ain't gonna
funny.
do
I
him
just
like
did
that.
an interview last week with two gentlemen, and they were actually speaking from that. And we didn't get into it, but they
Mm.
were speaking from the aspect of like their grandfathers. They had a few
Yeah,
families.
I got a lot of siblings. I got a lot of siblings.
I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. So, so let's talk about childhood. Let's talk about childhood. So, as far as in house, how many children
Mm.
were raised in the same house with you?
Well, we grew up. A lot of me, my cousins, and my siblings. A lot of us grew up together. So it was probably like 12 of us in the house. We grew up together, living. Basically, we all lived together. So we all grew up as brothers and sisters. Some of us was cousins, but we all grew up as brothers and
Mm-hmm.
sisters. So like 12 of us in the household. So you can imagine how that was. 12 people,
Right,
12
right.
kids, and
So
that. Yeah.
where were you think you were? Were you like in the middle, as far as age?
Nah, I'm like one of the oldest.
Okay, okay.
So
Oh,
so
okay.
me, yeah, so me, they all kind of looked up to me. In a
I'm
way, they
sure.
kind of looked up to me. I did a lot of things so they wouldn't have to. Even if they did
Mm,
decide that they got older, but I did a lot of things and went down a lot of paths so they wouldn't have to do it. They can go other ways. You know what I'm saying?
mm, mm. What you mean by that exactly?
Trouble. I was a trouble youth.
Mm,
I wasn't always, I wasn't the worst. I still was respectable to adults. I was never one of those kids that when I got in trouble, I was just all around terrible.
mm,
I respected my elders. I always had that respect because I was also raised by my grandparents. So
mm,
um I always get respect, but when it came down to the streets, I could be treacherous too.
mm,
It was two sides of me. So I did a lot, I've been to juvie, I've been to jail. I never did prison. You know what I'm saying? I can't never sit up and claim prison. I ain't never go to prison. But I have been in juvie stints where I was looking at a lot of time. As an adult, I did one little bit of time as an adult, but I never was back and forth from jail.
right,
I
right.
kind of was one of those people that I know how to stay out of trouble, but I still can get in trouble. I just ain't get caught.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I was one of those, but yeah, I was treacherous growing up. Especially I grew up in Essex Village, so I seen a lot out there. I seen a
mm,
lot, seen a whole lot out there as a kid and as a teenager. But as a kid, I kind of observed a lot that
mm,
made me want to um kind of do what I seen.
mm, mm. So you mentioned, I want you to move your device back. I want you to be able to market that hat you got on. We can't really see it well, so I want to make sure that's being seen. So I don't know if you should push the phone up some or just move it back some because I can't really see the hat at all. I just want to give you, yeah, okay, that's good, that's good. Um, okay, so you mentioned you were kind of like the oldest, right? We're talking about 12, right? 12,
Mm,
12 family members, right?
mm,
Y'all pretty much grew up together, so y'all really see each other as siblings to some degree.
yeah,
Um, so do you remember feeling like a lot of pressure being the oldest one with so many young ones underneath you?
kind of because I used to have to babysit.
Mm,
I used to have to babysit them, so like I did. Like I said, sometimes I feel like I was the parent. Even when my aunt had to go to work or stuff like that. I feel like I was the parent. Like I said I was raised by my grandma. I had custody of me. A situation. My mom was young. Some things went on. That's not my story to tell. That's hers.
mm,
But some things occurred where my aunt had to get custody of me and some of my siblings. So we ended up living with my aunt. But my grandparents. I can honestly say I don't blame my aunt or my mother. They both was young. They went through things. And I appreciate my grandparents for really taking me in like they
stepping
did
up.
because
Mm,
if I didn't have my grandparents, I probably wouldn't be sitting right here with you.
mm, mm. No, I totally get it. You were the oldest. I was the youngest.
Mm,
9, and two-parent household. Blessed to have that, right? So I never
mm,
necessarily felt the pressures of um, being one that they looked up to, right? Because I was the youngest, I didn't have that pressure. But it was a big pressure, and a lot happened, right? To your point,
mm,
there's stories to tell, right?
mm,
But the part that I want to wholeheartedly agree with is me understanding that younger in life, so that I was able to forgive them. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I'm the last, like I said, it's a surviving now, and then all my siblings have not been able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like they got a whole different story, and they may
yeah,
be completely different from me. Like I kind of learned forgiveness early,
mm,
um, in my age, which I'm super grateful for. Because to your point, I wouldn't necessarily say. I mean, my mother had me at 40, so they weren't young, but whether you older in age or younger, it's about maturity at heart. You know what I'm saying? It's about
yeah,
mindset. And so a lot happened. I just can relate to that, being able to understand and forgive, regardless of
yeah,
what transpired. Because that's a weight. That's a whole nother weight, right?
yeah, yeah.
Blaming and they should have and he could have, and sometimes that can be a weight on us you're not even aware of, right? So
Mm,
how early in your age you think that you begin to understand that life can happen as opposed to
mm.
holding it against them?
Maybe 15, 14, 15. I
That's
started to
mature.
come, yeah, I started to come to a realization because I had to grow up early. So I want to say I really started dibbling and dabbling in the streets at 12.
Mm,
So um, I kind of had to look at it. as an aspect, at that aspect, then it's like it ain't their fault. You know, at one point I can't say I didn't have some type of anger toward my mother because I did. Um, I had a big anger towards her at one point in time because I'm like, how can you leave your kids here? You know what I'm saying? We need you. And it took me a while to forgive my mother, but I understood.
Mm,
Um, I want to say more so like I didn't really forgive her until I became an adult. You know, at 15 I understood, but I didn't forgive my mother till I became an adult. You know, well down the line when I had kids of my own. So
mm,
I understood what kind of, my mom was fighting some things. Um, so I don't blame what she was growing up too at the time. She was still trying to grow and learn her way and things that she been through. So I just had to come to realization like she's a human too. You know what I'm saying? She go through the same stuff like I do,
mm.
emotion wise and everything. And she gave me life. So I gotta love her regardless. I ain't gotta forget it, but I forgive her.
Right. There's a difference. There definitely is a
Yeah.
difference. And I think sometimes it can kind of be like a trick bag, right? Sometimes you could,
Mm-hmm.
because you mentioned the understanding, right? And so I think some,
Mm-hmm.
especially that young, I think so. Let me ask this before I insinuate. Do you think that being in the streets gave you the understanding because of things you witnessed?
Yeah, of course. Of
Mm,
course. It played a big part because regardless of what, I know my mother loved me.
mm,
Reason I knew that when I did juvie, my mother, my grandfather, and one of my aunts was at every visit. They missed one visit, but other than that, they was at every visit, every court case. And I knew then, like my mama loved me.
mm,
She loved me.
mm. It's I think that's a really good big part to kind of expound on a little bit because a lot of us can relate to being in a position where it ain't right, that's messed up. You messed me up
Mm-hmm.
by how you didn't do and wasn't responsible, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same token, kind of being forced in a space to deal with the repercussions of that person's actions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, and I think, I mean, my husband and I got 5 kids today, so I understand the aspect of repercussion on the children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whether something was out of your control or whether it was based on some type of condition or something you was facing, I'm still reaping the percussion that wasn't because of my actions and because of
Mm-hmm.
my decisions. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes it can be a, it can be difficult to process mentally and emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like you kind of get it because you see it all around you, how some people are falling short and the different things they're getting involved in. But I think the main thing is like, I think a lot of us can relate to is that we've had to suffer due to somebody else's lack of responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I asked you this. You said you think you got involved around 12.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, you mentioned being observant, right? And you mentioned, kind of tiptoeing around in the streets a little bit at 12. So do you
Mm-hmm.
recall anything specific that possibly transpired before, okay, this is the life I'm gonna live? Or do you think it was something that was just evolving slowly?
I think it was evolving. Seeing what I didn't want to do. Seeing again, not to get into too much about my mom, but seeing certain things her and my sister's father that I was like, I ain't gonna be like that.
Mm,
I'm gonna get some money. I ain't going this route. So seeing other, my older brother or seeing older guys around my neighborhood, I wanted to be what they was doing. I ain't want to be like how they was. So
mm-hmm,
saying that, I always, even to this day, I'm a good observer. I observe everything. You might don't even know that I'm observing. I'm paying attention to everything. So seeing how they was living at an early age, at 12, I seen it. I'm like, I gotta have this type of life. I don't want what they got. I don't want to be strung out. I don't want none of that. So I made a choice. At 13, I was fully in the streets.
mm. So it's almost like you chose what side you wanted to be on,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
What they call it, the greater of the two evil. Is that kind of the term they use?
yeah.
And so 13, what grade is 13? What's that
I was
like?
like in seventh, eighth
7?
grade.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
So seventh, eighth grade, you okay? So are you? Did you stop school? Did you keep going?
nah, I ain't stopped.
Okay. Okay.
I kept going. Like, so I want to say maybe middle school. Eighth grade, I started getting in more trouble. Like, even when I did stop, I still was going to school. Um,
Mm,
Eighth grade, I did get expelled. Started getting involved in other things, with fighting and gangs and stuff like that. So I did get expelled eighth grade. But now I didn't stop going to school because of what I was doing.
mm.
I wanted to go because I had a whole lot of money in my pocket. I was dressing, so yeah, I wanted to go.
Right. 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 That's the
Yeah.
stage. She's a-
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to be in school more then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Okay. So now we talking 13. You got 11 underneath you. So what's that looking like? And you hiding it, you flamboyant with it. Like what's
Um,
that?
I ain't really had to have it. This is why I didn't. When I knew things didn't matter is when I first got my first tattoo. And my mama ain't say nothing. I got my name. I don't know if you can see it, but I got my name big going down my arm. I was like 13 years old. She ain't say nothing. So what I
Mm-hmm.
gotta have? If you don't care about this, then what I got to have?
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like it was still wrong because it's like at that time I think I was crying out, to be honest. Um I was crying out for the love of her. It was more so I'm doing this rebellious stuff to basically get her love. And then it's like once my aunt got custody of, I was just like, damn, she don't care then. I told my mama that recently, like, I felt like you ain't care. When the courts, we go to courts and the judge sentence siblings that way, sentence some this way, and you just standing there, I'm like, she don't even care about us. But that wasn't her case though.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that now. That wasn't the case. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was
That's just
more
what it looks
shocked.
like as a child.
Yeah, as a child, that's what it looked like. Your mom ain't doing that. She ain't grabbing you. She ain't telling the courts you ain't taking my kid. I don't know that. I don't know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't know you. I'm just thinking like, man, she just letting us go to. I'm seeing my sisters and we going different ways. And I'm like, and I'm looking at her, no expression, but it was a shock. You know what I'm saying? It was a shock. Me knowing that now. But as a kid, I didn't know that. So,
Mm-hmm.
living with my aunt, I'm like, my mama don't even care. And then I had siblings that still was with her. So I'm like, so she don't even care about us. That's gone. But
Mm-hmm.
nah,
But
that
being
wasn't the
young,
case.
you couldn't fathom what was going on behind the scenes, right? There's no way you could.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All I
Yeah.
know is we was getting separated. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. And I know I had to live with my aunt. It was tough. It was tough knowing that because, like I say, not living with your siblings. Again, growing up with my cousins. That we all became like siblings. But I have siblings that I've never lived with until we got older, kind of living in our grandparents' house. But growing up as kids, me and my baby sister, we never really lived together because we was split up. So to this day, we still fight to try to have a relationship. Like I love her, like I love all my other siblings, but we have so much of an age gap, and we don't really know each other. And we're blood sister and brother. We don't really know each other. So I still to this day try to fight for that relationship with her. And she do the same. But it's kind of tough. It's like we strangers in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to blame my mama for that. You know?
Mm-hmm. And that's got to be awkward, right? When you know your blood relatives, yet feel like strangers. You know,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have that experience in that degree, but because me and my siblings are so far in age, like my oldest brother, I think he's like 68 or something like that.
Mm.
So a lot of me and my siblings, we're so far in age, that whole idea, what you said, like not having in common, kind of feeling like strangers, kind of been there for a while.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, what I'm saying? I still kind
Mm.
of feel like, okay, even though I'm grown and I'm in a certain age bracket, they still feel so much more older that it can feel a
Mm.
little awkward with some, not all of them, but some of
Yeah.
them a little awkward. And I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it kind of it leaves this unspoken stain on you emotionally that
It does.
you know what I'm saying, that nobody really
Mm-hmm.
speaks about. It's never really the right opportunity to bring it up. But that kind of gets involved in your relationships as you get older. Would you agree?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Hmm. Like having the abandonment kind of weighs on you
Mm-hmm.
over time. You know what I'm saying? Trust.
I dealt with that, and I'm glad you said that. I dealt with that a lot, and I was told, I used to jump from relationship because it was like I was looking for that love that I was trying to get from my mother. So I can agree with that, abandonment. Then it's trust because it's like this the person that gave birth to me that did me like this. How can I trust anybody else?
Anybody else? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And until we address it, right? I mean, it don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be full blown therapy, but at some point we got to really address it. Because what happened is just like you said, relationship after relationship after relationship, not even knowing. That's why I said like an unspoken, not even knowing that you
Mm-hmm.
looking for what you didn't have when you were younger that you yearn for and you long for, right? Because it ain't
Mm-hmm.
just love; it's also attention, validation. You know what I'm saying? Like it becomes like this whole mountain, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
of feelings and emotions that you kind of lacked
Yeah.
growing up. You know what I'm saying? And then you begin to
Yeah.
look for that. And then here's the really unfortunate part, in my opinion, about it. It don't take much for somebody to get you because you're looking for so much. They breathe the right way. She the one, he the one,
Mm-hmm.
it don't take much because you're so vulnerable. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we in a space of so much lack that it don't take much for someone to appear to be attractive, the one, you know what I'm saying, compatible, all those things. And so
Yeah.
we grow up having all these different experiences, not knowing it wasn't even about him. It wasn't even about her. You know what I'm saying? It was about
Mm-hmm.
moms or dad,
Yeah.
whoever that was back then that we longed for. Um,
Yeah.
and so let me ask you, so do you recall, um, let's say high school, um, do you recall maybe treating women a certain way, however way you choose to describe, and then later on you realize it was because of that lack, that affection from
To be
mom that
honest,
you learned from? Not really.
with me, I always been a lover boy.
Okay.
Any female that I dealt with, that seriously dealt with, I always spoiled them.
Okay.
I always spoiled them. But I think I'm more so. Again, I was raised by my grandparents, so I seen the difference.
Mm,
When they took me in, I seen how my grandfather was. He took care of home. He went to work every day. My grandma was well taken care of. So me, I always took that,
mm,
and I do whatever for my girlfriend or whatever at the time. I think that was my way, but that was what I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think that was just with my girlfriends. Like with a lot of my homeboys too. I pay their tag, pay their way. Like if we going somewhere, they ain't gotta pay for nothing. And if they was on here, they'll tell you. Like it's certain things that I do because I ain't gonna expose
right.
everything, but it's things that I do that I'd be like, nah, you know. So I think it was just me trying to buy love, like
Mm,
for people to love me. You know what I'm saying? Or to
wow.
feel loved. I think I was buying love from people around me. And then once the situation happened with me and I might take a fall off or fall back or take a loss or something, and I start seeing people not around me, I'd be hurt because I'm like, well, I thought they loved me. But the whole time I'm buying these people. You know what I'm saying? It, it's a lot though. It's a lot.
Purchasing relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we other. And so I'm so glad that you was even on enough to reveal that because that's kind of where I was going in that direction, right? And when I said treated women a certain way, it didn't have to be negative. You know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? You could, like in my case, I could have treated men good, but it came
Mm-hmm.
from a bad place, a bad experience. You know what I'm saying? So when I
Mm-hmm.
posed that question, it wasn't about being bad for women or no good to women. It was really just
Mm-hmm.
understanding. Did you understand later on that that really came from that? Because the whole idea of, and you said it, not me, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, that's what that. It's almost like. Let me say it this way. It's like when certain people break our heart young, because it
Mm-hmm.
ain't always mom and daddy. Most times it is, right? A lot of times it could be grandma, auntie too. But when
Mm-hmm.
our heart is broken at such a young age, we find or neglected or rejected or abandoned, right? All of those things. That's what we end up doing. We end up starting to purchase relationships. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? We're buying lovers. You know what I'm saying? And not even
Mm-hmm.
knowing it, because one thing I think is possibly true, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that that broken heart becomes a big heart,
Yeah.
because you said it earlier. You begin to be what you want, the change you wanted to see. You begin to be that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You begin to show up in ways you wish somebody showed up for you. So that's
Yeah.
when you start doing what? Overcompensating. You know what I'm saying? That's what
Mm-hmm.
that comes. You paying for everything, doing everything. And unfortunately the harsh reality becomes, to your point, when you stop investing in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? When you stop initiating, when you stop, taking care of the bill, then you start saying what people are. But more importantly, I think we begin to see what we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, be able to really identify, well, what was that really? You know what I'm saying? Was I
Yeah.
being generous? You know what I'm saying? Or was I overcompensating?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do
Yeah.
you, do you remember when that became a reality for you?
Mm. I think it really hit me, to be honest. I don't think it hit me until maybe almost 3 years ago when my wife passed away.
Hmm.
I started seeing real signs of people. I started really seeing a lot of people really want for me. Um, Whether it was family, friends, or whoever, I started seeing a lot. A lot changed when that happened. I really started to see for a lot of people for who they were. And I started to adapt to the point where it's just who they is.
Hmm.
Now I know how to deal with this person.
Right.
you know. But it's extra things that I ain't doing no more. You know what I'm saying? I ain't having a house
Mhm.
full of people no more. I ain't riding everybody around and asking for gas no more. I'm not picking nobody up. I'm not having people just ride with me just to ride with me. I'm not doing none of that. Because I seen a lot of y'all won't hear from me in my darkest days. You know what I'm saying? So I really started to notice that, people was around for the fun, but when the ship sailed, they jumped.
Mhm. Mhm. And so it's almost like realizing that they were along for the ride.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if it's time to drive me, you ain't willing to do that. When
Yeah.
it's time to for me to lean on you, you're not there for me to do that. And that's another harsh reality, right? Because sometimes it be the closest ones to us, right? It be
Yeah.
the closest. It
Yeah.
don't be the one you ain't really seen but twice a year or every 3 weekends. It be the one that was right there every day. Or them
Yeah.
be the ones that get exposed the most.
And I want to say, when I was going through my time, it's people that I only was Facebook friends with that I became real friends with after my
Mm,
situation. It's people that I was close with that I'm no longer close with that I don't even associate with no more because they left me high and dry. At the time I needed the people the most. It wasn't about no money for me. I was going live every day, and I was telling everybody it ain't about no money. I just needed somebody to be here with me. I just
mm,
needed a hug here and there. I needed somebody to tell me it's gonna be, something. Just tell me
right.
something. And it was a lot of people that I didn't expect to do that, and it's people that I expected to didn't.
They didn't. Hmm. Do you ever recall coming to the realization that some people just weren't capable of being that for you?
Never. Because I feel like even as a friend, a brother, a associate, whatever, I ain't gotta say nothing. I could
Right.
just be in your presence. That's all sometimes people need.
Right.
I don't gotta talk. So it won't really an excuse to me for
Right.
people not, for some people to be like, well, I ain't know what to say. You ain't have to say nothing.
Right.
Long as I seen you right, you could have just stood right there and watched me punch the air. You right there though. So nah, I can't take that. I can't take that when people like, well, they ain't know how to, man, we don't know this life. Nobody know how to deal with a lot of stuff we do, but some of us
Mhm.
still be there for the ones we say we love though.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm.
It ain't gotta be words. I can stand at the car with you. We can stand at the river. You can sit, you can cry and talk to me. That's the person I am. Cause if one of somebody I love going through it, I ain't gotta say words. I can just stand there and just let you vent, let you cry, let you crash out. You can
Mhm.
pound your hands on the floor. I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna joke. If you don't need no words from me, I just stand and let you do that. Because that's who I am. But that's another thing. I can't expect everybody to be me either.
That's true. However, some people excuses can be a little lame and a little weak, and I feel like that's the
Yeah,
main one. That's what made me ask. Some people like, I ain't know what to say. I ain't
yeah,
know what
I
to
don't
do,
go for
and
that.
they use that as a scapegoat to justify disappearing for 2 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's man, it's one person I can just I just can't believe, that wasn't there. So I ain't got no words for that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave that alone. I'm
yeah,
gonna leave that
yeah.
alone.
Okay, so now we high school, right?
Hmm.
You mentioned getting into a little trouble where you were kind of facing some juvie time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
were
It
you
was.
kind of like knee deep in it at that point, or?
I mean, I got caught up in some stuff that I ain't even had nothing to do with. That's the part. That's when I know I'm like, yeah, I'm tripping. Everything I was doing, I wasn't getting caught up. I
Mm,
got caught up to something that I wasn't doing that I ain't had nothing to do with. But um, yeah, it was something serious. It was a serious situation, which again, my grandfather being there, paid lawyers and all type of stuff for me. So we came up out that situation.
okay, good, good, good.
But it kind of like knowing I had him as backup, it kind of made me worse in a way
Mm,
because I'm
what
like,
they
I
what they
know.
call it, the enabler?
Hmm. But one thing I can say, what I can say to my grandfather about my grandfather, and I said this at his funeral. No matter what I did, he never looked at me different. I was still his baby. Him and my grandma, I was still their baby. No matter what I did, get in trouble, started smoking, whatever I did, they never turned their back on me though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped me evolve.
Mm-hmm.
To see it wasn't me getting in trouble. It was me letting them down to kind of help me to evolve.
So it was like the regrets, the disappointment. Mm,
Hmm. And then started factoring in once my grandma died in 2005. That's when I was facing the time. I came home in 2005. My grandmother passed. She passed July of 2005. I came home in April. So if I would have got time and I had to face all the time, I ended up going to my trial in June. So when all the charges, everything was completed, I played out, everything was completed. I would have been in there. My grandma would have passed. And I
mm,
don't know what would have happened. She died a month later after my trial. My trial was in June. My grandma died July 7th.
but you was out.
So I was out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So was that the first loss that you recall that probably affected you the most during that time?
Yeah, my grandmother. Yeah, 2005. And after that, it's like they started hitting back to back though. But 2005, my grandma was the first like close, deep loss that I can remember. In that age, I was 17 when she died.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something like mm, I ain't never lose nobody like that. I ain't never that was my closest loss at that time. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, yeah.
And then you gotta um, see how we also grieve people that are still here with us. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, cause yeah, out of body loss is one thing that can't be compared to, but we
Hmm.
also grieve the loss of other loved ones that was there and no longer there. You know what I'm saying? So it could, and I'm not trying to force this on you. I'm just listening, and it could have been a thing where it could have felt like another mother's loss because she was very much a mother
Yeah,
to you.
that was my mother. That was
Mm-hmm.
my mother. My grandma taught me how to cook. Like when the people hear me say I know how to cook, I mean I cooks. I mean soul
Mm,
food cooking,
okay.
man. From the scratch, mashed potatoes from scratch stuff. Like I learned this from my grandmother. Watching her cook, making gravy and all that stuff. Like I learned this stuff from her. So it was like losing a mother. Cause I
Mm,
live with her. When she go to the grocery store, I'm with her. When we riding around, I'm with my grandma. When my granddad at work, I'm there with my grandma. We in the house together. So yeah, it was like losing my mother.
mm. It sounded like I had a great relationship. So you mentioned beating the trial during that time, which was
Hmm.
clearly a blessing in itself, not just the trial, but be able to be there, when your grandmother transitioned. So what else was going on during that time? Or should I say what happens after she transitioned? Did you become a little more careful with how you was moving? Or
Mm-mm.
just a little more
Kind of made me a little more at that time. It kind of made me a little more reckless.
mm,
I kind of didn't care, but I had to care because it was only me and my grandfather at the house at the time. Then,
okay.
so it was like a up and down thing. Like I kind of got more reckless, then I kind of got more started thinking a little more. Like he just lost my grandma. Now if he got to deal with me going back and forth for jail again or doing something, now it's gonna be more of a burden on him.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of it took like probably months down the line that made me kind of switch it up a little bit, especially when I started going to adult learning center. That's when I kind of like, no, I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna chill out
Mm-hmm.
because I
It's
won't
not
even
like you
go back
had
to
a
school.
balance though. It's not like the balance was good for you.
Yeah,
Um,
it was. But that again, that's me having my grandparents too, though.
right,
Cause like I
right.
said, if I wouldn't have had that, ain't no telling what my mentality would have been right now, or then. So it kind of was like I always had like a regret, like man, I don't want to do this because I don't want to have my granddaddy had to have this burden on him, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But it helped me, having him helped me. It
Mm-hmm.
helped me.
And again, with that balance, it sounds like you moved in with them at the perfect time, right? So, in
Mm-hmm.
spite of the difficulties and the situation transpired with your mom, and I believe it was your aunt that had custody at one point, it was kind of like, I hate to describe it as a blessing in disguise, but let's just say it was a blessing when you ended up with your grandparents because then they were able to show you a completely different side of life and relationship and
Yeah,
responsibility and all that. So you were able to get that young, which is good.
yeah,
Uh, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with the man you are today, right? Everything you were able to pick up and bear witness to being there. So,
mm-hmm.
so let's fast forward a little bit. Okay, so now you realize, okay, I'm moving different. So what was that thought process like? What was going on when you was like, okay, I gotta stop this. I'm gonna get out the streets. Like, what was going on mentally and emotionally at that time?
Now, now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say
Okay,
this. And I didn't say I got out the streets. I just said I stopped doing dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
I stopped
Let's
thinking.
be clear.
At that age, I think I started saying the most money I ever had in my life. You know,
Mm,
so it wasn't no getting out the streets at that point. It was more being
okay.
smarter and not getting in trouble, not going to get involved in beefs in the hoods. My neighborhoods were beefing with other neighborhoods at the time. I kind of left my neighborhood and went to another neighborhood. And I don't know. Um, I'm gonna be around them, and nah, I still love my neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna go around here and get some money though. If my neighborhood going down to another area, what they gonna do? I'm gonna go hold. I'm not gonna go with 60 dudes that all us down there. Ain't no money gonna be down there.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
gonna go to a whole another neighborhood where I know I can get this whole neighborhood and get all this money. Why am I go with 60 people? At?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like I moved smarter. You know, I started maturing my mind a little bit, and my mind went from want to do dumb stuff with beefing and fighting and all that. So, man, let's get some money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some money. So that's what my mentality went to. That's when it kind of matured.
Okay.
Watching, I said, my granddad, he was an honest man. He worked. He ain't been in the streets. But I got this street in me. Not like I said again, my dad, my mom, their stories is their stories. But if people in the city know who my dad is, they know why I had that mentality I had.
Okay.
My dad is a well-known figure in the city of what he did. So that mentality was in me as
Mhm.
well.
So that's where
Yeah.
you're saying it came from. In spite of having the decent man, hard working at home, you also had a father who had a lifestyle that you were privy to. It sounds like
Yeah.
that kind of. So it's almost like so. What? So do you recall like really knowing what he was involved in, like witnessing it, or was it like stories you heard over time?
I knew my daddy was involved in. My dad ended up doing time in '97, caught a charge or whatever. But I knew who my daddy was. We didn't have the best relationship me growing up. We knew I knew who he was. But I never was really around, But one thing I can say about that side of the family, they never treated me different.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if I wasn't around them, a lot of them grew up together. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. But anytime I came around, they never treated me no different. Even down to my grandmother that on that side, she never treated me different.
That's
Never.
good. So you occasionally spend time with that side of the family.
I go over there here and there, younger, and then as I got older. But me, like I say, I know if I would have just been right there with them, they would have loved to embrace me
Mm,
because that my cousins, my siblings on that side, they never treated me like I was, he don't be around that. I ain't never heard none of them say that.
mm,
But yeah, I knew who my daddy was. You know what I'm saying? I knew his journey. And he had like three baby mamas that lived in my area.
mm-hmm.
So I knew who he was. Knew what he was into, not just stories. I knew. Yeah,
So
I
was
knew.
there any type of relationship at any point before he did?
Yeah. After I want to say after. He wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to my mom and told her, when he came home, he wanted to get me and take me somewhere. And I was already in the streets at this time. When he came home, he did what he said. He
Mm,
came and got me. He got one of his baby mamas that was with him, and they came and picked me up. And he took me somewhere, like he said. He did that.
that's
So
uh,
that
that's
kind of built our relationship. That was like 2001. Like 2001, we started building a relationship. Didn't talk to him for a while. Then like I want to say maybe 2009 is when 2008 or 9 is when we really built the relationship. And we had a relationship ever since.
that's what's up. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Um, so grandma's transition, dad gets out of prison, y'all building a relationship, right?
Mm.
What age? Where are you now in age?
2001, I was maybe 14, something like that. 14,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So that's
15.
much younger. Okay, I'm thinking you were much
Mm-mm,
older. Got you. Okay,
mm-mm,
okay,
mm-mm.
okay, okay,
We
okay.
didn't we
So
didn't we didn't reconnect again until I was a little older. So maybe I was like 19, 18. That's when we kind of reconnected. Yeah.
okay, and this is after the bid and time him being out.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Okay, okay. Do you? Because I'm sure he knew you were in the streets, right? That time y'all kind of reconnected when he got out. He knew you was in. Did he ever try to?
I'm pretty sure he knew, but I ain't never say
He
nothing
ain't
to
never.
him.
Okay, he ain't never speak about it either. He never brought it up
Nah, he
either.
ain't never speak on it. My dad, he intelligent. He know. He
Mm.
knew. He seen the gold teeth and the jewelry. And I had permanent gold teeth at the time. A lot of times back then, people got permanent gold teeth.
That was
He
that
kind of
right
know
there.
what
Told
they
the
into. Yeah,
story.
he kind of know what they into. Yeah,
You probably
he
figure ain't
kind of
nothing I
know.
can tell him at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now we fast forward a little bit. So how old is? So when did you? How old when you met your wife?
I want to say I was 24, 23, maybe 23,
Four.
24. Right now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's a few years
we met at a
after.
job. Yeah, yeah. She was younger than me though. Yeah, we met at a job we was at. That's how we connected.
Okay. You were working it too.
Both of us working the job. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you still in the streets a little bit? You got one foot in, one foot out.
Oh yeah, I'm at this point in time, I'm 100% in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
But you got the legitimate job going to kind of
yeah, I got the job going.
stabilize it.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah,
Got you. Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Any kids before meeting her?
hmm
Okay.
I had one son.
Okay. Okay. Well, how old were you when you had him?
I was maybe 21. He was born
Okay. Just a
2010,
few
so I
years
maybe
before.
21, 22. Yeah, just a few
Okay. A
years.
few years before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how was that? Was it like a love at first sight? Was it a she
That's my
had to grow
boy.
on
That was
you? You had to grow on her? What?
oh her with her. I think it was like we was almost like the same people.
Hmm.
We was like the same people. She just was a female version.
Okay.
Yeah, she just
Okay.
was a female version. She ain't take no. I don't know if you can cuss, but she ain't take no shit. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And so
yeah,
you saw that early on, like, oh, okay, she
yeah.
was.
But I knew we knew a lot of the same people.
Okay.
We just ain't know each other. Like we basically ran in the same circle, but just never ran into each other.
Oh, okay. Okay. Until that point,
To
we are
the
working
to the
together.
job, yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay. So what type of impression did she leave on you at that time in your life particularly? Like, sometimes we got this power in us as feminine when we got to realize this, ladies. We got this power on us, right? That sometimes we ain't gotta say nothing. We can just do something, and men start rethinking their life. Did she leave some type of impression on you that kind of maybe make you rethink the street life aspect of it when you were back there?
Nah, one nothing
No.
gonna make me
But
rethink that.
nobody had that kind of power,
Not
huh?
that time. Nah, nobody had that power.
Okay. As
Nah,
time
but
progressed, like,
yeah, her pack just was like, she cool. I mean, we ain't never think it would have got that far as it did. To be honest,
okay,
we didn't think that at that time.
okay.
But it actually once we started like hanging out, we kind of like, oh no, you know what I mean? It kind of like, all right, okay, now we see we understand. But people used
Uh,
to be like, these two crazy with together, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but nah,
they
as
was
far as
probably the old
rethinking
boy
the
they
street,
found each other.
yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
the streets though, the street lit. I ain't nothing won't at that time won't making me rethink that.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
So at what point, what happened that had you rethink that lifestyle?
This new era,
Mm,
um, everybody telling on themselves, cameras everywhere. The way people move, the way the business is out here now, I might as well go legit. You know,
mm,
it's a different era now. And it ain't for me. It ain't for me. So I just decided, like, you know what? I'm gonna just go legit. I started working little jobs, and stuff like that, and more so I just like I can't do the streets no more. It's again cameras everywhere. People got their phones out for everything. That'll spook me. Like me doing this right here, people that know me know genuinely, even with the movies. To be honest with you, I never in a million years would have been doing this. I never
mm,
thought from podcasts, being in the movies, um when I was doing music, I probably back then only did like one or two videos or
mm.
three at the most because I'm like, I ain't giving these people nothing to look at on me.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean
But
that shows a state of evolving, right?
mm, mm,
Not even just with time, but just being more open, more confident, more, you know what I'm saying, less
mm,
isolated is what I'm hearing. Okay,
yeah.
so we fast. So when did you start getting into music? When did that start?
I always liked the music. I want to say like 2008, 2007. Um, I mean, music back then, I used to call myself like the Suge Knight of it. I had artists, but I never wanted to be, again, I never wanted to be in the front line. I ain't want to be in no videos. I ain't want to do none of that. But when I knew I can rap is when I first wrote my own rap, and I was like, you sound all right. But everybody else around me, what they like, you know what I mean? But I'm my worst critic anyway. Anything I do, I'm
Right.
my worst critic. But I was just like, I ain't feeling this for real. Then I go to the studio. I'm starting to learn what studio stuff is from dubbing your verses to. I'm like, all right, but then I started getting into it and doing it more. I started liking it, but that's a whole nother thing. I ain't got no passion for the music like that. I
Mm-hmm.
do when people say about the music, I kind of just do that for a hobby. I might do a video or something, or
Mm-hmm.
put an album out or something, just when I feel it like it. You know what I
Right.
mean? It ain't my passion. It ain't nothing
Got
on.
you.
Ain't
Got you.
nothing
Got
like
you.
that.
Okay, so let's move to so we start. So you still in the street, but you're doing the music, right?
Oh
So when
yeah,
did you start
definitely.
entrepreneurship? No.
Yeah, I was definitely in the street. Yeah, when doing music. Yeah.
So when
Um,
did the entrepreneurship? I know he was always an entrepreneur, clearly.
yeah, always. Yeah. Far as with the business, the clothing, 2023 after the tragedy.
Okay. Okay.
Um, that's when I really pushed for real. To be honest with you, like I said, I don't want to get too deep on it the situation, but that situation kind of made me a whole different animal in a good way. Um, it made me more so, like I said, with my eyes up to a lot to people. Um, it made me want to grind harder legitimately. You know what I mean? Like do something legal. Um, and to be honest, to really see this brand be the way it is, it kind of be making me cry sometimes.
Mm.
Um, I get emotional about it because I'm like, I'm really doing something positive now. Um, to wish she could be here to see that, you know. It's kind of touchy. Mm, I'm just thankful that I'm here to be able to do this, you know. And to see so many people support what I'm doing. A lot of people don't know half my story. You know, like I say, I don't try to, and it's called success is built off sympathy because I don't want nobody's sympathy.
Oh, that's what it stands for. That's deep. Say that again. What is it?
Success isn't built off sympathy.
Mm.
Um, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. You know, just cheer me what I'm doing. You know, you don't got to buy my stuff. You know, even if you share it, I'm appreciative. You know, um, when I do my clothes, I genuinely put my time into it. I don't do it just to throw something together. I genuinely would take hours. My friends that I deal with on a daily, they could tell you I would take hours just genuinely putting the colors together and design because this means something. It ain't just no brand, you know, it ain't just something I just want to throw out. It genuinely means something to me. And to have the support that I do have is a blessing. Is a blessing because I look at it like these people don't gotta support and like my stuff. I could have just been putting it out, just throwing it out there, and people would have just been buying like, let me get this. People really be hitting me up wanting to purchase my stuff when I have it. Like they'll contact me like, do you got something for these? You got something for this? Like "Man, this made me feel good to know that I'm really pushing legally, you know, and not just the brand being in movies and all. I never seen myself doing none of this. So this brand really, you know, being an entrepreneur for this, it's hard work. I tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I say this, I'm kind of glad I took my journey from being in the streets to this because I could take some of what I learned from that to this,
Absolutely.
but in a positive way. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Also that you know, doing this, it makes me I don't gotta look over my shoulder. You know, I ain't gotta worry about nobody telling on me or building a case on me. You know, I can sleep comfortably at night. I can go in my bed and sleep comfortably knowing I'm doing something legal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got an LLC behind this. I filed this on my taxes. You
Yes.
know, um, I feel like I really grew. You know, but I think if I would have never went through the tragedy I went through, I probably wouldn't be this man I am today. I might would have been similar, but I
But not
wouldn't be this
just the
man I
great.
am today. Yeah, I wouldn't be. I would have still been doing what I was doing. You know, for the past 20 some years. You know, they always say within tragedy, you know, something good is gonna come out of it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I say, you know, I don't use that. I can't, you know, I don't use that as no crutch, no nothing. That's why I rarely try to talk about it. But it's a part of my story. It was a person that was a part of me. So I can't never duck it or deny it or hide from it. But I don't try to use that because I want people to see that I'm still going. Because a lot of men, even women, can't stand in my shoes. They can't stand in my shoes. What I've endured and been through, a lot of people can't stand in these shoes. They would have folded. They would have folded. Being a single father too, to a teenage girl, listen, they would have folded, you know. But I'm still standing, regardless of how much I get, you know, get tired, be hurt, whatever. I'm still standing. I'm still here. I'm still going. I ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, I commend you. Salute to you. So it sounds like you would have been thoroughly proud of you, as you are of yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and it kind of sounds like it's in her name, right? You know how people do things in the honor of. It kind of sounds
Mm,
like it's in her name.
mm.
Is that something you can kind of agree with? I mean, based on when you decided what was going on, the name
Well,
of
I
it.
I had the name. It's crazy. I had the name before she passed. I
Oh,
bet
okay.
had to close the name. She tried to get me to push the brand. I never pushed it because I
So
kept
that's the
saying, all right, I'm gonna
connection.
do it.
So that's the
I kept saying
connection
I'm gonna
right
do
there.
it. Yeah. I kept saying I'm gonna do it, but I was doing what I was doing. That wasn't gonna make me no money that I, didn't think, I'm like, this ain't same as music. I'm like, I ain't making no money out of this. I'm gonna make some money. But I
So the
had to double
connection is
back.
that she tried to push you to do it, and now you are. So that's the connection.
Yeah. A
Got you.
lot of connections. To be honest, I went and double back and did everything that she wanted me to do.
Mm,
I double back and did everything. Whether if I'm doing it still or not, I double back and did it. I did a couple of videos. 2024, I did maybe like, I don't know how many videos and songs. That's something she wanted me to continue. She always wanted her song on Apple Music. I got that put on Apple Music.
mm.
So I went and double back and did everything. I don't care what it was. I went and double back and did it. And I felt like I committed my honor to her, you know. I committed that, you know. Now I can move forward and continue with the brand and do this. I'm like, I get sleep calm about that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So now we're here, and then unfortunately another tragic, right? Another loved one. Um, your grandfather was very much like your dad, right? It sounds like a lot of the maturity, accountability, right? The responsibility that came from him.
Um, is the day before we had to do this interview. We supposed to do this interview.
Mm,
I got that call that my grandfather didn't make it. February 2nd, the month of my birthday and everything, my daughter's birthday. Um, I ain't never think I'd lose my granddaddy. To be honest with you, that was my superhero. Um, I idolized that man. I idolized him. Um, to get that call, it was crazy because, to be honest, I only told maybe two other people this. The day before my grandfather died, well, that morning when I was sleeping, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned all night. I had a dream that it was my mother. I woke up that morning and said, I need to call my mama. And I got the call. It was my grandfather.
mm,
Um, Losing him, I realized how serious mental health is. I say that because my grandfather passed away. I just smoked. I was depressed. Um, I didn't want to do my brand no more. I didn't want to do nothing. I had to get myself out of that. My cousin had a voicemail that he let me hear that I played at my grandfather's funeral. That my grandfather wanted to get the family together. He wanted to preach a sermon on what family mean, and it was this summer he was trying to get a family reunion with him and one of his brothers and get the family together. That kind of got me out of my sunken place.
mm. Hearing his voice.
Not only that, knowing what he wanted,
Mm,
I made a group chat for my mom and her sisters. I made a group chat with me and my siblings and my cousins. And it's like I kind of, even if I don't say nothing in them, like my mom and her sisters group chat, I try not to say nothing. I made the group for them, but to see them communicate and talk the way they do now, um, my mom and one of her sisters ain't talking over 14 years.
mm,
The first time they did see each other was at their corner funeral in a long time. And then, when my grandfather passed, they talking like they used to. Like when I used to live with my mom, I used to get out the phone. We used to have to use house phone. I just got to get off the phone because they called and speak, talk to her. So I got to get off the phone. So it's like to be in that group chat. And tonight, like I said, I don't even how to say nothing. I see them communicate, to see them tell each other they love each other. Um, good night or good morning to each other. That should mean a lot. To see my siblings and cousins laughing and joking in a group chat, even though it's some bickering, that's how that's gonna go. But to see each other still getting along and laughing and joking, and it mean a lot because I'm like, all right, I done made these group chats just part of what my granddaddy wanted.
Yeah.
You know, I want to honor him. And like I said, I was ready to give up the brand. I'm like, man, I'd be a fool to do this. What's wrong with you? Get up out this. Um, my granddaddy loved my brand. Loved my brand. My granddaddy wear that. My aunt said she had to tell him change his shirt. He'd have had one of my shirts on for 3, 4 days straight. You know what I'm saying? So with that, like, I'm like, I can't do that. So I had made him a personal windbreaker outfit. That's one of my best sellers, the windbreaker suits. And my granddaddy, I made one personal with his nickname on there and everything. And once I got out this funk, this depression, now my windbreaker sets are honoring him. They're all
Mm-hmm.
dedicated. So they're called the Sabaz R&T, which are his initials. So my sets that's coming in now will have the R&T on them, which is the dedication. Now that collection is directed strictly for my granddad. You know, I couldn't give up, but mental health, I definitely was that my mindset was different. I was back, I was ready to convert back, but then again, I got kids too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got a whole home that if I fall, this all crumbles. If I pay everything here, so if I go down, this goes. My daughter family, they're not gonna leave her out, but then my daughter goes, it's like everything crumbles. So we are all entitled to have moments, but we
Mm-hmm.
can't stay in those moments. I was entitled to have my feelings at that time, losing
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to make myself realize you can't stay in this, you know. But losing him was one of that was tough. That was tough. That was tough.
I'm
That
sure
was
it kind
tough.
of back too, you know. To your wife, to your grandmother. Sometimes grief will do that. It'll start just almost be like a projection,
Yeah.
just replay every other loss. And it makes it heavier, because then you'll find
Yeah.
yourself re-grieving, if that makes sense, right? The others that
Mhm.
went before them. So I commend you for your vulnerability, um, because I really think that it's a powerful thing to hear a man be unapologetic about being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? To your point, we all entitled to take a knee. The problem is we don't, especially men,
Yeah.
because of what it's going to look like or sound like. I think that's a very impactful um, situation that you've allowed yourself to sit in and then get up out of. Uh,
Mhm.
we can say it till we blue in our face as women, but sometimes a man got to hear from a man. It's
Yeah.
okay to take a knee. It's okay to go down for the 10 count, for real. It actually really is.
Mhm.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to do that, because that don't make you less of a man. That don't make you weak. You know what I'm saying? That make you human.
Yeah.
It's a very cleansing thing. It's a very healthy thing. Um, and so I commend you just for being an example for men. That's something, because I think that, I mean, I'm not a man. I'm married to one, got a few brothers, and my lifestyle has caused me to be around um, a bunch of men that understand that most men don't want that moment. They don't realize, but that's kind of a hindrance. You know what I'm saying? Not allowing yourself
Mhm.
that moment, whether it's grief, whether it's sorrow, whether you just stressed, overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a healthy experience, and that helps you evolve into a stronger man. But when you
Yeah.
don't take that time, you kind of ducking and dodging something that's actually good for you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's actually healthy for you. And so I just really commend you for allowing yourself to have those moments whenever they arrive. Because that don't mean they're gonna end. Because you know what I'm saying? That don't mean you're gonna go down on it for another 10 count. That don't mean you're gonna take another knee. But you've learned
Yeah.
that you can't stay there. And that's the powerful part about it. That
Yeah.
most of us possibly struggle with, especially when depression seeps in. Most of us want to stay
Mhm.
there because actually depression is so weird. It's almost like it feels better to stay here they get up when it's actually the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
that's the trick that depression plays on you. You feel like, okay, if I just stay here and I just sleep it off, I'm good. I don't want to face it, not knowing that nah, actually facing it is actually what we need. Um,
Yeah.
and so I commend you for that. So let me ask
Thank
you
you.
this: so you realize, okay, I'll be a fool to stop. Matter of fact, it seems to put some fire under your feet. That's what it looked like, from afar.
Yeah.
That put some fire under your feet. And I love the fact that how what I heard was, listening to that was it's time to pick up the torch. That's what I heard. I get it,
Yeah.
son, but it's time to pick up the torch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there has got to be an overwhelming feeling of joy seeing it unfold, because that's what I witnessed. You saying how they talking and your mother and sit like that's an overwhelming feeling of joy is what it sounds like, that his desire is coming to pass. You know.
Yeah. We still got work to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It ain't gonna happen overnight.
It ain't gonna happen overnight. But like I said, that's what kind of made me tear when I said that about my mom and one of my aunts, because growing up, they was like I got two twin aunts, then I got my other aunt and my mom. My mom, she's the oldest. So her and my second oldest aunt, well, my oldest aunt, they like I said, for them not to talk so long and to know the relationship that they had, but to see them back talking and communicating, that it kind of choked me up every time.
Yeah.
To even see my mom and all her sisters, her little sisters, you know what I'm saying? They all back communicating. It's like more than anything, they need each other.
Mhm.
Their
Mhm.
mom and dad. I don't know what it's like to lose my mom and dad. They got the same common thing that they all four lost their mom and dad. So to have each other is a strong connection that they needed. Like I said, for me to make that group chat, like I said, I barely say nothing in there. I leave that to them. I let them communicate. I say something here and there, but I did that so they can talk. I want to see them communicate. And they've been doing it, and it's one of the greatest things I've seen. I used to hate it when I was little because I kind of get off the phone because they
Mhm.
always want to talk on the phone with each other. But to see it now, like it really
Yeah.
brings joy
Beautiful.
to me.
That's beautiful, and that's a testament of what your grandfather put in you, right? And that's also an honor to his name of being able to take the steps to get things in the right direction. Like I said, it ain't gonna happen overnight, but at least the wheels are turning. You know what I'm saying? Like you took the appropriate steps, and they kind of did their part to reconcile, and that's what's up. Like I don't listen. I don't know a black family that don't need that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah,
so I'm even hearing it means a lot. You know, you
yeah.
might have just provoked something in me, honestly. Um, so let's talk about some acting. So when did that come about? How did that? Is this something somebody pulled up on you about, or is it something you saw and decided you're gonna take a stab at it?
I seen I seen they was doing a casting for this series called The Eye. Um, at the time, I only knew one of the directors, which was Di. I didn't know Sean then, but it's like some told me like, just go try. But my other side of me was like, hell nah, no movie, But I went to audition, and the rest was history.
Mm,
My character was only supposed to be in one scene. I didn't
mm,
even have the original part. Somebody else had it, but I guess I did better. You
mm,
know, I was supposed to be in one scene. I became to be in all three episodes. With
mm.
longer roles in it, ever since
No
then,
training, no prepping, nothing.
never trained, never
Wow.
prepped. I left an impact on them.
Mm,
And the casting, like they had their first table read, and Sean had told one of them, we was like, hey, what that guy at there? Because I kind of when I had to do my acting role, I got aggressive to Sean, and he didn't know if I was serious or not. Like he was looking like.
is
He
he in
was like,
character?
yeah, yeah. They was like, no, he supposed to did that. So they said at the first table read, Sean was like, hey, what that dude that came up on me? They was like, the other director Tony was like, you talking about Ruger? What he at? And they got me in, and the rest been history ever since. Been history ever since. But no practicing, no none of that.
It
I
was
didn't even know I was
it
a
was
nine.
never a thought ever in your life to act.
Never. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to change our voice, like doing the
Oh yeah,
wrestling people voices, stuff like that. But I did, so I do know how the voice changes. I can make my voice sound like certain people.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I do know how to do that, but I never took that as nothing serious. I took it as, being in the house with my people joking and playing, and I might do Eddie Murphy voice or, some
Okay.
or a cartoon character person voice. Nothing, I never took it as nothing serious. Like,
Mm,
yeah, I know I see Denzel in them on movies, like I can't wait to be one of him. Nah, I
mm.
ain't never, I never, it won't never no thought about it. But I guess it's the talent that I had that I didn't
Yeah,
know,
that's what it sound like. That's what it
Yeah,
sound like.
yeah,
You well, having a few scenes in another movie,
yeah.
and Sweet Thing come. Was it another one between Sweet Thing or was
Yeah, Three
Real Dance
Stages of
Sweet?
Darkness.
Okay.
Three Stages of
Oh, I
Darkness.
think
I'm
was
the
Logic in that too. I feel like somebody
Yeah,
else
Logic in
made it.
that too. Yeah,
Okay.
Logic in there. Yeah, me and Logic is a scene with me and Logic. I'm his right hand man in that movie.
Oh,
And Three
okay.
Stages of Darkness. I'm Logic right hand man. Sweet Thing. I got another movie I'm working on now. I'm in called The Last Run. I got a few things up my
Okay, you
sleeve that'll
working
probably
over there.
move
Okay.
around. Yeah,
Okay,
I got a few
Hollywood.
moves up my sleeve.
Okay, okay. I love it. I love it, man. I'm telling you, I be hyped for what y'all be doing. I do. I just love it. And I think the biggest thing for me, honestly, is that y'all are, and I mean, who am I? I'm over here in Maryland somewhere. We don't know each other from can and paint, but I just absolutely love um, the idea of knowing where y'all come from and what
Yeah.
y'all been through to where y'all are. That is so impactful, so powerful because you mentioned earlier with the dynamics of the household, right? What happens is people don't do what you say. The kids don't do what you say. They do what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's one thing to say, "Oh man, you gotta stop doing." But when you're showing them, that's a whole. That's a lecture that never needs to be spoken. When you
Yeah.
show them, I was this and now I'm that, right? I was there
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm here, and
Yeah.
I think I think that's what I love the most about it. It's not just actors, you know what I'm saying? It's not just
Yeah.
music. It's not just a story. It's not just a journey. It's not just you know a mishap or unfortunate scenario. No, we're talking about resilience. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
talk about real evolution, real transformation. And our community desperately needs it. Yes, we've all heard the story of people going from this to that, but it's a continuous thing that our community have to see. Boys
Yeah.
and girls, we gotta constantly see people evolve. Because if we're not constantly seeing people evolve, the people that's not is gonna overshadow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that right there, like we gotta talk about, I mean, not to put too much pressure, you know what I'm saying, on you, but it's almost like their comparison of people that haven't evolved that they're watching and following and scrolling and liking and loving and you're mimicking. You know what I'm saying? Those people haven't
Mm-hmm.
even evolved. They're actually really
Mm-hmm.
still talking about things that they're doing. They're actually
Yeah.
playing roles that they actually live in real life. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just it's a task, it's a duty, it's an assignment. And I just commend you and the rest of y'all for just staying focused and committed to y'all change. You know, not being ashamed of your story, but being vulnerable and open
Yeah.
and patient with y'all journey. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of this we
Yeah.
talk about happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? Ain't enough time to go down every rabbit hole and every transformation. It's not enough time for that.
Yeah.
But I love it. I'm in absolute full support of everything that y'all
Appreciate you.
doing. Because I really see this evolving where it's gonna be like the era. You know, it's like the era of y'all
Mm-hmm.
time. You know, so
Yeah.
so you remember when Damon and them, right? We
Mm-hmm.
talking before paid in full, right? The state
Mm-hmm.
property era. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
was, and I ain't really, I don't know nothing about none of them personally, but from where, I was fans of them. So where I
Yeah.
was, they hadn't changed. They was just getting money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They didn't need to do it no more, but the mindset was the same. You follow me?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say that I kind of see this era like state property, but in a much more impactful way. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that positivity does uh, definitely don't spread quicker, unfortunately, but it spreads wider.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I see this really being like a thing of the era where you're gonna have younger people just talk about like remember what they was doing, and we here now because of we on their shoulders. I really
Mm-hmm.
see this like I ain't just saying it just to be trying to sound deep. Like I kind
Yeah.
of really know that y'all headed somewhere bigger than y'all can imagine in terms of community and impact. So
Appreciate it.
I hope y'all just stay focused, stay grounded, and committed to what it is y'all do. I got a few questions and we're gonna end. Um,
Okay.
I think you really answered most of them. So I might say something that possibly you touched on. It's not too many.
Okay.
Um, okay, that's a good way to start off. So, what do you do when you feel like you've reached your limit, like of exhaustion, frustration?
Mm. Sometimes I just sit back and just design again. Like that's one of my things to go to. Like when I feel like I'm just exhausted, I get in my bed and just design clothes
Mm,
or come up with different color patterns or something like that. Or I might just sleep. If I feel like I'm too exhausted, I might just gotta
mm,
no, I gotta get some rest right quick. Or but more than likely I just sometimes just have my own piece. I throw my headphones in and just be in my own little zone, my own world.
mm. So it's like you get creative sometimes.
I do that in both ways, especially now through depression as well.
Mm. Okay, so people see the business owner, the actor, the
Mhm.
music. They hear the journey, but who are you when you're alone? Who are you aside from all of that?
I'm goofy. I'm
Oh
silly.
yeah,
I'm silly. Like people think I'm one of the meanest people, but until they know me, I'm one of the big-hearted, kind-hearted, silly people you ever meet. Like the ones that know me know I'm goofy. I'm real goofy. Goofy.
that's so funny, right? And my son always says something to me. Uh, who I am on social media is not who I am, and I don't mean that in a fraudulent way.
Yeah.
There's just a side of me that online just never sees. Like I'm super
Hmm.
stupid goofy. Like I
Yeah.
probably people think I'm probably business minded. I'm serious and articulate. Man, I'm like stupid, goofy, silly. Like I get on my husband's
Yeah.
nerve. I play too much, so I can definitely attest to having a side, and I think that's healthy though. Online don't
Yeah.
need to see and know everything about us.
I have seen a little bit of it because I've been
Uh,
doing at like a point of time like last year I was doing prank calls. Like I was
uh,
pranking a bunch of my people and I posted online. But yeah, like that's stuff that I do. I might call and prank them or this. I'm real goofy though. I'm goofy. I'm
I
silly.
haven't. It's the first time social media is there. Unless you know me.
Yeah.
I'm like a whole entire clown. All right, so what's the next one? So do you feel like the world allows men to grieve?
Nah. The reason I say that because it's like I said this before. And when I was in another podcast that we supposed to be strong. Like a lot of people feel like we gotta, and it's not right. And I'm not gonna say everybody. But it's like they feel like we gotta be strong, or some people consider us weak if we do.
Mm,
Some people look at us like you a man, you're not supposed to do that. A man supposed everything is a man supposed to do this and do that and do this. It's like we supposed to do everything but be a human, you know. And like again, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people have a stereotype of what a man's supposed to be and how he's not supposed to cry or grieve or he got to do everything. He got to put the house, the apartment, the car, the bricks, everything on his shoulders and keep walking and not
mm-hmm,
fall. You know,
mm-hmm. So what's heavier, the loss or the expectations after the loss?
to me, the loss because the expectations is gonna get in my story, it's gonna get done, but it's the loss because that person is not here to see it. Like people can say, "Oh, they watch you in a better place." That's a whole different ball game than they standing beside you and telling you like, "I'm proud of you."
Mm-hmm,
So to me, it's always gonna be the losses, the heaviest. Because
mm-hmm,
every time you accomplish something, if you look into a crowd, I can go graduate and get a master's degree, and I look into that crowd. I ain't gonna see the people that I want to see there the most. I'm not gonna see them standing in that crowd, So it's no way that I would be like the expectations because it's the loss of that person. Because every time I do something new and different, if I look over, they're not there.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
So what type of man are you trying to become through all the pain?
a man that be able to lead by example,
Mm,
a man that can show other men that it's okay to be sad, to show my son that it's okay to cry. You're not weak. You're not less of. It's okay to be in your feelings. You know, to show other men that I know that's gonna have to go through all the stuff that I went through, that you can do it. You can overcome it. Don't let no addiction, don't let none of that take over. If you want to do an addiction, have a right addiction. Go get into something that you love to do, a passion, you know, and dig into it, dive into it. Like my addiction is my brand now. So
mm,
when I'm in a feeling, like I said, when I get depressed, I go do designs. When I'm trying to wind down, I go do designs. That's my addiction. It's not a drug. It's not a pill. It's not alcohol. You know. So I say to any man that's have gone through what I've gone through, and in the future may go through what I go through. It's okay to be weak and have a moment. You know, it's okay.
mm. So you tell me whether this is true or false. You never fully heal from losing those you love. You just learn how to function without them.
You definitely don't. You don't never heal. You'll never heal. You know, and I tell that to people that go through ask me about it. Nah, you don't never heal. You definitely learn how to deal with it.
Mm. Losing your wife changed who you are at your core.
Mm. Change me in a better way. Change me in a better way.
Losing your grandfather felt like you lost your foundation.
That's true.
Grief hits harder in private than it ever does in public.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it can go either. I can only speak for myself.
Mm,
So the reason I say that, let's go back to my grandfather. When my mother done broke down, I rushed to their aid. At the funeral, I went in. I my emotions at the time, I sucked it up. I had to go be there for my mother. But when I get home, this is my comfort zone. This is where I get to let everything out at.
mm,
So when I hit that door sill or hit that bedroom, I let that grief out. Sometimes I got kids too, so I gotta be strong for them as well.
mm,
My daughter seeing me cry. I try not to cry around my daughter. My daughter seeing me crying around the time. I try to run past her. But yeah, when I hit that door sill or go in my bedroom, that's when my grief kind of hit me when I'm alone.
Becoming a single father did what for you?
Showing me what a man was.
Mm,
Showing me what a man was. Um, I didn't become a man until this situation. To be honest,
mm,
um, you can give money, you can do certain things for your kids, you can try to spoil them, whatever. But I didn't become a man until I had to learn how to pay all the bills. I had to learn how to set up doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, hair appointments, nail appointments. It made me a man. It made me a man. It made me appreciate women more as well too,
mm,
especially single mothers. Definitely.
mm. So I want you to finish the sentence. I wish people understood that
I'm only human.
the pressure I carry as a man is.
Hmm, that's a lot, to be honest.
The version of me before all of this was,
Immaturity,
if I'm being honest, I'm still trying to heal from.
everything.
I don't always say this, but I'm still struggling with
Life.
strength to me now means
Mm, that's a tough one. Because strength means so many things to me. Courage, you know, embody and trying to be a mother and a father, that mean a lot. Strength means so many things to me now.
if I could say one thing to my wife today, that would be,
I hope you're proud.
okay, so tell me whether this is true or false. You've been strong for so long that you don't even know how to be vulnerable.
Nah, that's far. I know how to be vulnerable.
Hmm. You actually just said this, but I want to ask you anyway. You feel pressure to be both mom and dad at the same time.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard being good cop, bad cop. You
Oh
can't do
yeah,
that with one
sure.
person. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's definitely pressure though. It's definitely pressure.
You hide your pain so your children don't have to feel it.
Mm. I can't say that because they're their own individuals. They're gonna feel pain they're going through, especially my daughter after losing her mother. So she's
Hmm.
gonna feel pain anyway.
Regardless. Hmm.
So I can't say I had it. I try to hide from crying around them, but why? They need to see that vulnerability too. They need to know that they can do that too. So nah, I don't wanna. Like I said, I do run my daughter sometimes. I do try to hurry up and not cry around her, but she seen me weak. She seen me weak. She seen me weak more than a lot of people have.
What's one thing you want your daughter specifically to always remember about you?
Your daddy been trying. Regardless how hard I'm trying.
What's the main thing you want and desire for your son?
Peace.
Hmm. That's deep. Let's get a few more. So, how did becoming a father overnight change you?
You mean with my son or just the
What,
situation with
what,
my
what did with your daughter? Because they have different moms, right?
mm,
So, essentially, with your son, you're not a single parent.
yeah.
So, with your daughter, you mentioned maturity at one point in the interview, but I'm wondering is
It,
another way of elaborating on how it changed you because it kind of happened rapidly.
it did happen overnight. It was tough because a lot of things, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know. It was things that I was looking for in the house that my daughter knew where it was at that I didn't even know. It was a tough process because again, Right at the time when her mom passed, I still had to pay the rent within a few days.
Mhm.
On top of the funeral, on top of still having to go on, Christmas was coming, all that stuff was still coming. So man, it was tough. It was tough. Like it's like I ain't gonna compare it to somebody just dropping a child off at the door, but it was just like a situation where I was just like, dang, like this real. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I used to always tell myself, I don't know how single mamas do it. And overnight I became a single parent, so it's definitely was tough. It still is, to be honest. It still is. Especially, with a teenage girl, the emotions, starting liking boys and girl gossip. Like, it's still tough.
Buckle up. Done that with two girls. I done been on that road with two girls. Lord. Ooh, we almost there. So what do you think is the hardest moments about being a father? Are there any things about that you feel like it's just overwhelming?
Some of the hardest things being a father is sometimes feeling like you gotta let your kids down a certain way. Like we don't always want to be hard on our kids, but sometimes we have to. So it's like it's kind of like, dang, I feel like I let them down, or when you say no to certain things,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's kind of like the hardest thing, to me.
Because naturally, I think we want to spoil them. We want to give them a life we didn't have. We want to
Hmm.
overcompensate, and so I can definitely agree that it kind of makes it difficult while trying to provide that lifestyle to have
Hmm.
to impart a no for their betterment. You know what I'm saying? Or not let
Hmm.
them do whatever because maybe they're not mature enough to do that. So I can definitely
Yeah.
get. I think I got three more. Do you feel like the more you level up, the more pressure? Like the more success, or the more levels you reach? Do you feel like the pressure becomes more intense?
For myself, like I put the pressure on myself. Can't nobody else pressure me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I pressure myself because I try to exceed every expectation. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to. If I'm doing something good, this okay. My next expectation is going to be even better than this. So it's never gonna be pressure from nobody. It's always gonna be from myself. I'm gonna put that pressure on myself.
Mm-hmm. You feel like you're still trying to figure out who you are?
Yeah, we of course. Even as adults, we learn something every day,
Mm-hmm.
and we learn something about ourselves. We might wake up and feel something that we ain't know might hurt. So I definitely still got a lot of learning to do. About me or who I am. Um, I learned certain stuff I don't like. Certain things,
Mm-hmm.
certain noise might irritate me now. The older I get. So definitely.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do think it's a journey to that. I don't know if we.
Yeah.
I mean, some people may feel like they've reached the pinnacle of life, but I just kind of feel, to your point, I do think it's time progressing. The older we get, or should I say, the wiser we become, and the more
Hmm.
experience that we learn, we're still learning.
Hmm.
So much about ourselves. Did you question God at any moment during your grieving process?
Mm. I questioned a few times why, especially with my wife, why her and not me. Um, I did a lot of things. I felt like why the reason I'm still here. At that time I did. But I know everything's for a reason, for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Everything for a purpose. Everything's for a reason. Some lessons they got to be taught to. Might just want a lesson for me. It was
Mm-hmm.
a lesson for everybody around that was in her circle too. Um, Yeah, that's what I believe. But nah, at that time I did. I wonder why me? Why not me? Because I did a lot wrong.
Mhm. Do you feel like society only checks on men after y'all break?
After we die,
Mm,
men only get their most men get their flowers when they die. Um,
mm, mm, mm,
a lot of men don't get their flowers while they're here. You know, it's when they pass away is when everybody had these great stories about that person. What about the times when they here? That's
mm.
how I look at it.
If you could have a conversation with your grandfather now, what would that conversation entail?
It'll be the same thing we talked about. I talked to him 3 days before he died. He actually had one of my offers on. He kept calling me on. My granddaddy don't have no iPhone, so he had like an Android. So he gonna call you to death on Facebook Messenger
Mm,
video. So I seen him, and he wanted to make sure I seen him with my outfit on,
mm,
and we had a conversation, and it'll be the same. It'll still be the same thing.
mhm. What are you still trying to forgive yourself for? Last question.
For not being vulnerable soon enough,
Mhm.
for always having to put up this. I don't need nobody for something, but I need people. Um, Having to always show my tough side. Well, really, I just want to laugh and joke.
Mhm.
Um, just wish I would have been vulnerable sooner.
Man, that's deep. Out of all my questions, sir, this has been an absolute pleasure. I feel like I've learned so much about men, period.
Yeah,
Um, I've been with my husband for 20 years. We weren't married throughout the whole duration, but I've been knowing him for 20 years, and I feel like I've heard some things that I can, now put in my tool belt to be mindful of, right?
yeah,
I think you said it earlier without saying, you kind of tiptoed around, not intentionally, but it just wasn't said blatantly. Um,
hmm
that you can put everything on your shoulders, the house, the kids. Y'all put it all on y'all back, and you got everything up to your ears, and sometimes still not seen, still not appreciated, still not
yeah.
considered, right? So I appreciate this time and attention. So so good. Let's before we end, you got sweet thing dropping. What else?
Mhm.
You have a event, fashion show. What else coming up? What's going
Yeah,
on?
my brand will be in his crown, her heels fashion show, June 28th. Get y'all tickets for that. Also in October, I'm debuting my own fashion show with other designers of the city that I'm choosing. Even two kid designers I want to go with. We're gonna have a men, women, and children fashion show, which will all proceeds will go towards families for Christmas through my nonprofit with my partner Pootie for It Takes a Village. Um, yeah, we big on that too. Giving back to the community. We big on that. We did an event last year for my neighborhood where I'm from. Did a big event over there. So we working on some again. But mainly we're trying to get ahead of Christmas for families because that's gonna be around the corner before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I got those fashion shows. The last one, the move I'm in also. That's coming soon. I ain't gonna give a date because I ain't gonna give his movie information away yet, but it's coming soon. Right now, yeah, that's the main things I'm working on right now. Yeah.
That's what's up. So where could they get tickets if they need it for any of these?
Um, I don't know them names by heart. I ain't trying to mess them up, but you can check my page, or you can go to Tinker or Banana on Facebook for the his crown her heels tickets. My show right now, we only doing modeling sign up right now for it. Vendor sign ups, things like that. But you can check my page out on Facebook or Instagram, and the information will be on there.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, all right. I am my son. If anyone look for any investment properties in DC, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, or Florida, that's Davis Development Group, you can reach out to me. If there's anyone looking for any rental properties, residential or commercial, whether it's short term or long term, you can reach out to me. That's Air DDG. If anybody's looking for any electrical service, whether it's residential or commercial, that's Sendell Systems, you can reach out to me. Just like my brother, if anybody looking for any athletic apparel, you can reach out to my 18-year-old now son, Be Empowered at CEO underscore BE Clothing. That's all family business. It's about us, for us, and by us. Peace, brother. Thank you for your time. Thank you guys for subscribing.
Oh,
Share, share, share. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
no
Peace.
problem. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.